I think, Sam, that takes us quite nicely into number 2.
Yeah, so this is where it gets really interesting, and it's borderline 50-50 call, and it's kind of like, what do you like more? What works for you personally? And I'm almost certain that Jack and I are going to disagree on this one, because I've put Serie A in second place.
No, you have
not. Yes, I have. This is the correct answer. I'll tell you why. So basically, to recap for those that haven't been paying attention to Italy recently, almost every single top side has forgotten how to win a game of football, and it is absolutely hilarious. Atalanta are in total freefall as a result of some really bad injuries over the course of January, and they've got no strikers. There's just nothing left. It's a Ruslan Malinowski free kick, or they ain't going to win it. Juventus are somehow, despite not winning anywhere near enough games, only 9 points off, which is, I agree, too many points. It's too many points. However, in this title race, when everyone's forgotten how to win, it actually might not be too many points. Napoli had the chance to go top of the league on Monday, and they messed it up. They drew with Cagliari. It was so disappointing. Inter have spent much of the last 3 months in top spot, defending their title, but somehow it's AC Milan who are actually top of the league right now. I don't really understand how any of this has happened. Or they have played one game more. Now,
yeah, I was going to say, Inter have a game in hand.
In this little mini cluster of clubs here, I would say, in order of strength, it's Inter top, it's Napoli second, it's Milan third, and that's not currently what we're seeing. But what is really enthralling about this is the differences between the teams. They're not that big. They're bunched up together on 56, 54, and 54 points. I'm going to guess that over the course of the last stage of the season, there's no real massive degree of separation opened up here. I don't think anyone is going to pull away, and this is going to be a genuinely decent title race between potentially, well, definitely 3. And again, I'm refusing to just rule Juventus out, much to Jack's absolute chagrin. It could be 4. Juventus could still butt their heads into this equation because everyone's kind of lost their rhythm. It's been really strange, but it will make for an amazing race.
Juventus have won 2 games in the last 5.
Unbeaten in 3 months.
They won 2 games in the last 5. If they had a massive opportunity here to climb into this title race, and they have absolutely flunked it.
No easy games against Torino.
If Inter win that game in hand, they'll be 10 points clear with 12 games to go. I know there's no guarantee, given what you just said, that they win said game in hand. But at some point, I do think, and especially given their situation in Europe, I think Inter will start to turn attention back to Serie A now. And I think that'll be a key element. Napoli, I think, would have gone top if they'd played their full strength side on Monday night. They didn't. Because they have a massive game against Barcelona on Thursday, in a game that they need to basically win if they're to keep their fight alive on a couple of fronts. Now, if they're trying to do that and trying to play in different competitions, that's fine. I think what makes this the best title race in Europe for me is that we spoke so much at the start of the season when we were talking about the Premier League about how, it's just so amazing. It's a 3-way title race. It's a 3-way title race. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it exciting. There is a 3-way title race. 3-way title race in Serie A.
4.
There is nowhere else. There's not a 4-way title race. There's a 3-way title race. If Juventus are in it, so are Fiorentina.
5.
And that's ignoring Atalanta in 5th.
Do you know what? Actually, I've changed my mind. Serie A's top. It's a 6-way title race.
This is a 3-way title race. It's the thing we were so excited about in the Premier League. It didn't happen in the Premier League, but it is happening in Italy. And these are 3 very, very good sides. 3 sides, steeped in history, steeped in narrative. There's so many exciting concepts of how this plays out. I just can't believe you have put this in second. I'm shocked and appalled.
Well, let me tell you why I believe in the Premier League title race so much. It's not just because I'm English. It's not English bias or whatever. It is, as you say, just the 2 teams, not the 3 we expected. Chelsea have not quite held up their end of the bargain, and it will be Manchester City versus Liverpool. Part of the intrigue here is that about a month ago, I was convinced there was no title race to speak of at all in England. And suddenly, Liverpool have shot into the equation. Now, we sit here on Tuesday morning and record. This goes out on the Wednesday. On the Wednesday night, Liverpool play Leeds. I fully expect Liverpool to beat Leeds and draw to within 3 points of Manchester City. So the gap is currently at 6. It will probably be 3. It will be 3. And then they play each other, at the Etihad sometime later in the season. So there's a clear path here. There's a clear path. And if Liverpool were to win that game and then these 2 teams stay consistent and win all of the other games, it genuinely comes down to goal difference at that point. And this is incredibly enthralling to me. Pep versus Klopp, City versus Liverpool. For me, they are the two best teams in world football. They are ranked 1 and 2 in my Champions League round of 16 seeding. And these are the two teams that are going to just basically embark on this gauntlet of nerve to see who can last out the season and who can pull off the wins that they need to. The last time this happened was in 2018-2019. City scored 98 points and Liverpool scored 97. City won 13 straight games to see out the league title. That might genuinely be necessary again. These two are so good. And this is the two best teams in the world who are going to be pushing each other for every inch, every centimetre, pushing each other domestically and probably in Europe as well to make sure that they see the best of each other. It's going to be amazing. This is football at its peak level, at its most intense. And okay, it's impossible because obviously they can't both win all the rest of their games because they play each other. But just for a comparison, if they did, which they can't, but they'd be 99 points and 96 points. It's basically the same as 2018, 2019. It's that close, it's that level, and we're also talking about that level. Nearly 100 points for both teams. This is absurd. This is like footballing perfection. This is as good as it gets. This is elite level. And that's why I've so much love for it, because it's just the two best in the world drawing the best out of each other. And it can only mean good things for those watching.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from here. And I think that's it. Like, we didn't think, it did look like City were running away with it. Jack said it was in the bag. At that point, no one was going to put up an argument. Man City were just destroying everything in their way. And Liverpool have kept plugging away. And not only that, they've added depth to their squad since then as well. And they've actually now got an edge to them that nobody's too sure about. Like, Luis Diaz has brought something to that rotation that is confusing because we're not sure exactly which part of that front line he's even going to fit into. Like, the goal that he scored at the weekend was different class. It was a pure Liverpool finish of any striker that's presented in that situation. He's fitted in so seamlessly. It's unbelievable. Harvey Elliott comes in. He's showing that he can step up. I think Jordan Henderson's been brilliant recently. Thiago is reaching levels I've not seen of him for a long time. Van Dijk's there, like the rock that they needed at the back again. And it's so exciting to genuinely have this title race alive again. Like, you talk about a 2018-19 race. It was, oh my goodness, that was entertainment. Like, it was unbelievable. Watching every single match was just so dramatic. Yeah. Like, you tend to pick one that you wanted to win it, I guess. And oh my goodness, the drama that was involved. Now, of course,
do you remember when Liverpool drew at Goodison?
Yeah,
and it was like 10 games before the end of the season or whatever it was, and everyone was like, "That might be it." Like, that one draw might be enough to see you not win the title. And it proved to be the case, largely thanks to Bernardo Silva. There was that game later in April, I think, when he just took it into his own hands at Old Trafford and just ripped United to shreds and made sure that City won that game. And it was the company season as well, right, against Leicester. It was so tense.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah. Like, I've never been glued to a title race like that in my life. I think we're on the cusp of that same thing.
Maybe. I mean, look, I'm not going to discount the Italian race because, like, I did not think that AC Milan were going to be sitting in top spot right now. I didn't have faith in them. Like I regularly say, Dortmund have flaws and traits that I can't trust. For Milan, it's been similar. But you know what? They're showing a different edge too now, and it does give me some belief they can do it. And so I am excited about that too. Look, it's probably the fact I live in England that I'm giving the Premier League this edge. Like, there's little doubt about that in my mind. But you probably aren't doing that because you watch football differently to how I do. Jack thinks he's Italian, so he prefers Serie A. Like, I don't know what it is.
I have many nationalities, but many faces of Jack Collins. I don't think it's that. I think for me, I completely understand where you're coming from, Simon. I do get it. I do get the like kind of the top of the range. Like, this is the elite where it gets to. What I think that lacks for me is trepidation, like the kind of chaos of being like, okay, Milan are playing Cagliari today. They might lose. Like, I don't think that when Liverpool play Norwich. No. Even when Norwich went 1-0 up at the weekend, I was like, obviously Liverpool just win this game. Like, that's how I feel about it, because I'm almost a bit like, nonplussed by the fact that there are two sides who are just blowing everyone else apart. Now, obviously that's, been changed by the fact that Tottenham went and beat City at the weekend in a game that I did not think they had a chance of winning, considering Tottenham's form and how City have been playing. It's as simple as that. But I do think it lacks that kind of every single game I'm absolutely enthralled by. I watched that Napoli-Cagliari game yesterday. Napoli were rubbish for 80 minutes. And then they scored in the 87th, and then they should have scored again, right? And I was a bit like, this is amazing. This is what you want from every single game in a title race. You want the fact that they just might not beat the side who are 18th in the table. And I think that's what gives Italy, aside from the 3 horses versus 2 horses thing, I think that's what gives Italy the edge for me, because it's a bit like anything can happen on any given weekend. And that's amazing. Yes, there is obviously something absolutely incredible about watching 2 teams at the peak of their performance, the best in the world. Completely agree with all of that. But I actually am more enthralled by the chaotic nature of what happens in Italy than I would be about the Premier League, because I think that, yes, I think there will be games where they both maybe drop points, Liverpool and City. They might get a draw here and there. We saw City draw with Southampton recently as well. But I think that considering where they are and the quality they are, we're going to see them win 95+% of the games left in this season.
Yeah,
they should. And I don't think that at all about Serie A.
No,
I think we could be looking at a 70% win rate, which makes this absolutely nuts. And that's what gives it the edge.
It's just different preferences, isn't it? I mean, the battle and test of nerve that the Premier League title race is going to offer. Yeah. In terms of, you have to be perfect and you have to maintain perfection. And if you drop ever so slightly below perfection, it might genuinely be that if you draw one game, that's it.
I think that
is incredible.
At the moment, Man City and Liverpool are the 2 best teams in Europe, and they're going head to head for a title.
Agreed,
The reason it's become a title race in Italy is because no one's that good. They're obviously very good, but they're not good enough to. If they were in the Premier League this season, where would they be finishing? 4th?
Yeah, I think we know that the Italian teams, the Italians' best is not. It's not as good as England's. Not at all.
That's another reason I think to have Premier League first, because that quality barrier is premium as it can get.
Again, it's about it's personal preference, different strokes, isn't it? Jack, shock horror, Jack enjoys the chaos of that, and Dean, you and I are more aligned to the mental capacity to hold your nerve and to stay perfect.